What's up, everybody? As you know, the audio for this is an overlay. I unfortunately, when I moved into my place or my new house, I um, misplaced my audio cable, thought it was a different one, and it's not been working. So this is just basically, this probably will be the only video that I'm overlaying. But as far as things go, I got really upset that that area to the left is basically crap, so I wanted to make a workbench, and this is basically a how-to slash, I guess, follow along video with how I just decided to make a workbench. So it'll just be me flapping my gums talking about what I'm gonna do. So the two planks that I laid on the ground were actually the top of my workbench, so I'm building this thing upside down. And this is basically me making a frame for the top, and then I will extend that with legs that reach to the floor. Then I will brace those legs, and then after that I will flip the whole thing upside down and then nail in the top where it's supposed to be. So I made all my cuts. I screw and glue everything. So that's me talking about glue right there. It's basically the best joint you could possibly make, and all this is stuff you can buy at Harbor Freight / Home Depot for less than a couple $100 tools wise. I think the most expensive thing I have is the drill that's in my hands. Everything else was like sub $30, $40, $50. The bench itself cost about $100 ish in wood. It was just a bunch of 2x4s. The two pieces of butcher block, the plywood butcher block that I have, that's probably the most expensive thing. So as you can see, I have my frame laid on the floor, glued it in, cut everything, all that kind of stuff, and this is me actually cutting legs apart, or cutting my sections for legs. And taking forever to do this for some reason. Wonder what happened there. Come on, make the cut, make the cut. So that's basically how I'm gonna lay a leg. And I wound up doing this over 2 days. It was supposed to be one, and I cut all my legs, laid them out exactly how I want, threw glue and all of that. Actually, sorry, right now I clamp my legs together, and then I'm screwing all my holes so everything stays consistent, and then after that I will put glue in there and then throw a bunch of screws in there. So I will have 4 legs that are, basic L shape that I'm just gonna leave up there. And that's me throwing glue. You don't actually have to throw that much glue, but it actually makes such a strong bond. It's absolutely ridiculous how much of a bond it makes. If you were to try and wreck the bench by like kicking it or something, you'd have to run it over with a truck to get it to come apart again. And even then, it would just, blow everything apart. Make sure my leg's level. That was me throwing everything together really quick and throwing screws in there. The screws actually do a good job of holding compression. So at first I just use clamps to actually like keep everything in line, and then after I've thrown in my final screw, then I unclamp everything. Now I'm clamping everything to the frame, so that way I have my legs are going in the correct directions that they should. And I'm just basically taking screws and taking a drill bit and making holes for everything. I threw a bunch of glue where the leg meets the actual frame of the table. So this is me cutting bracing sections. So as you can see, that first leg is already built for the most part, and I'm making sure my 45s are actually 45. It's really easy to get mixed up with this stuff, so basically, like, if you have to second guess yourself like 30 times, do it, because it'll always pay off in the long run. Once again, screw and glue. I will say that I did not throw glue on the top section of the table yet, so those braces are actually, they're glued into the legs themselves, and not the top yet, I believe. And I think when I finally did the whole thing, I screwed the top of the table into all of those legs. which, once again, there's that, and taking that. I did use the brace instead of it supporting up into the flat part of the table. I basically got everything in line as best as humanly possible, and then took glue, screwed it into the frame of the table, so that support, it shouldn't wobble. 45s are usually like a pretty good way to go. Yeah, they're not the best. You can actually throw bracing all over the bottom, which I think I do. I'm not entirely sure. This table went through like 5 or 6 variations before I actually like got through with it. But everything was basically measurements out of my pocket or on a little pocket ledger, and then just went down to Home Depot or Lowe's and grabbed a bunch of wood, which the whole thing had to change because they didn't have the correct wood that I needed. So everything I think is pine as well, except for the butcher block, which actually I think that is too, but I'm not entirely sure. Those two were the most expensive parts. Everything else was like $8 a 2x4. So I think it was like, yeah, it was only like 50% of it was 2x4s and 2x6, and the rest of it was just those 2 pieces of plywood, which, let me see, this is where I'm going around and actually like screwing everything in, making sure everything's lined up. And this is where I have everything complete. Right now I'm just making sure everything is actually free from the bottom of the table. And I'm just going to pick up the entire frame and swing it forward, hopefully not knocking over the tripod, which I don't think I did. And there you go. Voila. That's pretty much how most of it, actually how it was really complete. As you can see, the top pieces of the plywood actually just fall in. I wanted that to happen, and what is it? I'm checking to see if it's level, but I keep putting stuff under it. It's really funny watching yourself and critiquing how bad you are at stuff. And that slides in there. And yeah, I just basically did that, set everything up top, and screwed everything into the bottom. I didn't use glue to put the top into the frame, which in hindsight I should have, but ultimately, like, I don't think I'm going to be doing anything that requires that much force to slide the top out. So it's, like I said, it's just a work table that is made to take punishment, abuse, paint, and just be all sorts of ridiculous. Thanks for watching. That's basically it. I'll probably put up a few shots of it completed or anything and all that kind of stuff. And I guess see you next time.